The life scenario you'll experience today is that of a corrupt lawyer. You're a junior lawyer. You're competent enough to barely keep a roof over your head, but your name will never appear on a skyscraper's sign. You're 35. Financial pressure is like a cheap tie, choking you to death. Your parents are gravely ill, medical bills piling up, and your child's tuition is due. A broken life, all the weight of hope crushing your weary shoulders. But don't worry, today, fate has thrown you a lifeline. Or so you thought. You've landed the biggest case of your life. A negligence lawsuit against a massive corporation. This is your golden ticket. Win, and you'll walk away with 40% of a multi-million-dollar settlement. You'll be rich, famous, finally, the successful son your parents deserve. Of course, life loves to toy with people like you. You poured everything into the trial, only to find the opposing company had an entire army of top lawyers. Their hourly rate was more than you earned all year. They tore you to shreds in open court. You didn't just lose, you lost on a humiliating legal technicality. The judge even publicly called you a clown. The result was a complete disaster. Your reputation was ruined. After this farce, in this city, no one would even hire you for a parking ticket. Just when you thought you'd hit rock bottom, the phone rang. It was the hospital. They want you to pay for your parents' treatment. You look at the bill, then at your bank account, now empty, and finally understand how bitter despair truly tastes. Just when you're at your wit's end, about to break, an old colleague suddenly appears. 2 years ago, he was just as down on his luck as you. Now he drives a car more expensive than your mortgage. His suit screams ill-gotten gains. He takes you out for dinner. He gave you an offer you couldn't refuse. At least if you had any sense left, you'd refuse it. He wants you to work overseas for a businessman. That's right, the kind who settles disputes with force, not through normal mediation. A major underground business syndicate. He told you all you need is to be a little flexible, and the cash you'd make in a month would be more than top law firm partners make in 10 years. At first, your conscience screamed for you to run. But when you think of hospital bills, your child's tuition, that scream instantly stops. You decide to take this gamble. You lie to your wife, poker-faced, saying you landed a major international consulting job. Boring and stable. You say goodbye to your family, heartbroken, jump into your friend's car, and drive towards that promised land. It's suffocatingly ironic. Your parents worked their fingers to the bone to escape to stability. You're racing back to where they fled. After days of travel, you arrive. You've been brainwashed by TV shows, expecting a chaotic, dangerous place. But what hits you is pure luxury. The office is spotless, fully air-conditioned, modern furniture, all brand new. Ironically, this place is 10 times better than your rundown place in America. They've set the rules for you here. There are only two very straightforward ones. The first, you don't need to prove the client is perfect. You just need to prove the other party doesn't have enough ability to make the charges stick. Second rule, listen carefully. You can never, ever refuse a client. Here comes your first task. Are you ready for this? You'll be disappointed to find out it's just corporate consulting. No courtroom, no conflict, just consulting. The questions they ask are the same as any boring Fortune 500 company. How to legally avoid taxes, how to preserve assets, and a bunch of hypothetical scenarios starting with, what if my company encounters this situation? The simulation process went smoothly, like a casual coffee chat. At the end, they hand you a check, just sharing basic legal knowledge. It's 10 times your usual income. Everything was so civilized and bureaucratic, you start to wonder, if you've misunderstood this place, maybe they're just misunderstood entrepreneurs. It's just that the business model is too aggressive. A whole week has passed. Honestly, the money is ridiculously easy to make. Most of your time is just basic corporate coaching. Occasionally, teaching witnesses how to speak creatively. You know the drill. Teach them to say, I don't remember. Instead of, I didn't do it, teach them how to turn damning evidence into hearsay. This money comes easy. No apparent risk. You're 35, feeling like you're just 5 minutes away from being a self-made millionaire, until one day, a special client walks in. He's not here about taxes. He wants you to help him tamper with evidence, delaying a high-profile trial, and that's when your ego gets the better of you. You think, why risk it? You've already paid off all your debts with clean consulting fees. You don't need this trouble, so you walk in with the confidence of someone still living in the real world. You don't need this trouble, so you confidently rejected the job with the confidence of someone living in the normal world. The person stood up, eyes like frozen marbles, and walked out without a word. Congratulations, you just made a fatal mistake. You forgot the second rule: never refuse a client. 5 minutes later, your old colleague walked into the office. He wasn't alone. He brought 2 burly men. They looked incredibly imposing. Their methods were brutal. Before you could even speak, a fist smashed into your jaw. The force of a truck collision. Before you could feel the pain, your ribs were brutally kicked. They gave you a professional and systematic beating until you passed out. The last time you woke up to ice water splashed on your face, waking up gasping. You're zip-tied to a chair, bruised and bleeding. Your friend, the one who brought you here, starts lecturing. He calls you ungrateful, calls you a disrespectful punk. His voice echoes in your throbbing head. A reality hits you hard, harder than any punch. You walked into hell yourself, and only now do you realize there's no way out. After the lesson, your brother decided to completely lock down your loyalty. He confiscated your passport, destroyed your phone, erasing all traces of your personal freedom. Then, he slid a recent photo across the table, your wife and child playing in the park. With a smile that could freeze the devil's blood, he whispered that next time you say no to a client or lose any future lawsuit, it won't be you who pays the price. The message couldn't be clearer. You no longer own your life. You're just a line item on the company's balance sheet. The equipment, a week later. Your bruises are still turning a nasty deep purple. A new client walks in. The theory is simple enough. In practice, it's a suicide mission. You have to get a high-profile individual out of extradition to a foreign country. They don't want you to prove his innocence. That's a joke. The objective is very clear. You have to make sure he's processed locally. Instead of being thrown into a top-tier foreign prison, turn into a number. You know that's a legal disaster. The foreign department will never accept a refusal. Before the first gavel falls, this is a losing battle. But you remembered the photo. You remembered the second rule. So your stomach churned, your hands trembled under the table, and you still took the case. You forced a smile and handed it to me, even though your brain had no idea how to pull off this miracle. You locked yourself in your room for 3 straight days with mountains of paperwork. Your diet consisted of cheap caffeine and pure panic. You knew that messing this up meant more than just losing a case. You'd lose your family. You scanned every single pillar, line by line, looking for a crack in the other side's armor. And then you found it. It wasn't a crack. It was a chasm. Trial day arrived. You walked into the courtroom, not as a defense attorney, but as a predator. Your goal isn't to prove innocence. That's a fairy tale. Your goal is reasonable doubt. They bring out their star witness, someone who betrayed the organization, said to know all the inside details. They treat his testimony as truth. When it's your turn, you don't ask about the core events. You ask about his personal blog. You reveal to the jury with a shark-like smile, he firmly believes in conspiracy theories. His ideas are extreme and radical. You ask the jury, can we trust someone with such absurd ideas? Then, you point out his plea deal in exchange for cooperation. He traded a heavy sentence for a light one. You portray him as a manipulative liar who'll say anything to save himself. His credibility instantly vanishes. Next, the opposing side plays a recording. A hoarse voice, ordering a huge sum of money to be transferred. Sounds like an iron rod. But you stand up and pose a simple yet deadly question. Is this really my client's voice? There's no voice biometrics. You argue the recording should be inadmissible. You tell them, this hoarse voice could be my client. It could be a prosecutor with a cold. It could be anyone in this room. Without technical verification, it's just noise, not evidence. Finally, they send over a killer piece of cell phone audio. The boss allegedly ordered a hit on someone. This was supposed to be the end. But you did your homework. You asked to see the chain of custody records. You pointed out a critical 48-hour gap, from when someone got the phone to when it was sent to the lab. No one signed for it. You look at the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, for 2 full days, this phone was like a ghost. Anyone could have touched it. Anyone could have uploaded that file. Reasonable doubt has now flooded the courtroom. If it can't be proven who held the phone, the evidence is contaminated. The judge bangs the gavel. The case is dismissed. Not guilty. You did it. You turned a man in the spotlight into a victim of the system. You're covered in cold sweat, shaking as you walk out of court. Your old colleagues are waiting. He puts an arm around you, as if you just won the Super Bowl. He hands you a thick envelope, $40,000 in cash. He takes you to a luxurious high-rise apartment, 10 times better than your place. He hands you a cell phone. You call your wife. The moment you hear her voice, you almost break down. He asks why your voice sounds strange. You grit your teeth and lie, saying you're tired from work. But everything's fine while you're on the call. Your colleague is sitting on the sofa, pulling out this small knife. You hang up the phone. His smile disappears. He leaned in and whispered, "Well done, partner, but remember, if you tell him, or anyone else, one true word, your family won't just stop getting calls. They'll vanish completely. So fast you'll doubt if you ever even had them. Enjoy the money. The call with my wife was tough. You two have been together too long." He reads your silence better than you read the law. He caught the tremor in your voice, the look in your eyes, a shadow that even miles apart couldn't hide. He asked what happened, and you had become a complete coward. You told him you were fine, just stressed from work. He didn't believe a word. You both knew it. But in your world, silence was safer than the truth. That night, you stayed alone in this gilded cage. He felt his suit pocket. You find a folded note. You have no idea how it got there. It looks like it was just shoved in. You unfold it. The message chills you to the bone. Someone claiming to be an undercover investigator. He writes that his team has been compromised. He's on his own, completely surrounded. He can't complete the mission without inside help. Inside help being you, the proposer of a simple, terrifying plan. If you want to escape this hell, keep your family safe. You have to cooperate. The code phrase is as cliché as a spy movie. If you agree to send a red tie tomorrow, he'll find you. You sit by the bed, your heart pounding like a drum. Help the investigators. Once you're caught, you're dead. A suicidal mission. But you look at the walls of this luxury high-rise. Now, they look just like prison bars. I never thought I'd never see my child grow up. The fear of death and the fear of living like this forever wage war inside your heart. Until despair wins, you rummage through your closet. In winter, you wear a red tie. May God bless your soul. The next morning, you tie the red tie around your neck. You feel like a complete idiot, screaming like neon in the dark, "Hey, I'm cooperating with the investigation." You walk into the office, trying to act natural. But your so-called naturalness looks more like a middle-aged, crisis-ridden game NPC. Every glance from the receptionist, every good morning from the bribed guy at the door, makes you feel like your cover's blown. You're waiting for a code word, for a secret handshake, but nothing happens. Absolute calm. A terrifyingly normal day. Night falls. You return to your high-rise apartment, rip off that damn tie, reach into your pocket. Your heart stops. Another note. How did he get in here? You rewind the whole day in your mind. Was it bumping into the cleaner in the hallway? Being packed like sardines in the elevator? Or when your personal bodyguard handed you water? This spy's stealth abilities are practically supernatural. Nice tie reading the note. Let's get to work. And so, a classic intelligence transfer began. The method was basic secret communication. Write the information on the back of a receipt, hide it in a crumpled cup, and toss it in the bathroom trash. No one checks the trash, except for you, the undercover angel, reading through these notes. The plan is taking shape. The agent shouldn't be in the small building. He wants the core behind the scenes. He wants that list, not the employee payroll. It's another list of bribed judges and politicians. That list is in a secure server in the basement, a digital fortress, and only you, Chief Legal Counsel's office. The asset disposition specialist has legal access to the plan. Organize the anniversary party next week. When security is lax and they're distracted, you slip into the server room. Copy the files onto an encrypted hard drive. At midnight, ditch it in the executive restroom. The agent grabs the drive. At that exact moment, a tactical team raids the building. In the chaos, you get arrested. Taken to a safe house. Sounds like perfect heroism. Sounds like 90% decoration, 10% pissing yourself. You have no turning back now. On a greasy napkin, you wrote your last message. Meet me at midnight. Don't be late. You toss it in the trash, praying your luck isn't thrown away too. Night falls. Everything seems full of hope. At least, that's what you tell yourself. Secret street meeting. A tall figure emerges from the shadows. Your heart stops. You recognized him instantly. He's one of the two thugs who beat you half to death a few days ago. You prepare for death. You thought you were already dead. But then, a surprise. The man who beat you is actually your contact. He's your golden ticket into the protection program. Your paths cross. You hand him the hard drive full of dirt. The big guy looks you in the eye. "I promise I'll get you out of this hell." But before he could finish, a black handgun suddenly appeared, pointed at his head. It's your boss. The plan is completely ruined. Or rather, the plan is proceeding exactly as you designed it. Let's rewind to last night. You're in your room, staring at an empty suitcase. Fear is consuming you. The investigators gave you freedom, true. But the people here give you something more direct: the ability to survive. Your survival instinct, that cowardly parasite in your head, took the wheel. You didn't pack your bags. You went to see your boss. You made a deal with the people here, trading an undercover agent's head for a promotion. No longer being the organization's punching bag, you finally became a member of the family. Back to the present. The big guy's reaction was surprisingly fast. He swatted the gun away. "Kick your boss out." He grabbed your arm, desperately trying to save you. "Don't worry, man. I'll hold them off. Run with the hard drive." He had no doubt. He thought you were both caught in an ambush. His only concern was getting you out alive. But you didn't run. You broke free from his grasp, slowly backed away to their side. "I'm sorry," you whispered. The agent froze. The truth hit him harder than a bullet. In that split second of pure shock, the others took him down easily. They dragged him into the dark. You know what awaits him. No trial, no lawyer, definitely no happy ending. The boss walked over and brushed the dust off his suit, patted your back. "Welcome to the club. Kid," he said, "you won. You're alive, you got promoted." But you look at this. The agent's taillights vanished into the night. The truth sank deep. You're worse than a criminal. You're just human garbage with a perfect survival instinct. Your betrayal became the best cover letter as a reward for selling out, the only good person who tried to save you. You didn't get a bag of cash, but something more valuable: access. They took you to the main manor to meet the boss. You expected to see a ferocious monster. What awaits you is a frail-looking old man, watering orchids. That same calm demeanor is present when he gives harsh orders. The boss looks at you, smiles, and says you have a bright future. He says he likes practical people, those who know how to sacrifice a pawn to save the king. And you, my friend, have just proven yourself a natural. The writers didn't send you back to the warehouse to move boxes, but decided to shift your talent from manipulation to a more advanced field. They've brought you into the organization's legal dream team. You've proven to have absolutely no moral bottom line. For this kind of special corporate law, it's an excellent transferable skill. In the next 5 years, your life will be completely transformed. You'll trade your sweat and dirt for Italian silk suits and climate-controlled offices. You'll become a wizard in the bureaucracy, making lawsuits disappear into thin air. Your efficient asset disposal will smell like it was stamped in places others can't even see a crack. Finding legal loopholes. In the eyes of the outside world, you're a respected lawyer. In the organization's eyes, you're the plumber fixing their financial pipes. You become indispensable. You become a key player, the one whispering in the ears of power. Your boss no longer sees you as an employee. He sees you as a foster son, someone he can trust completely. You've reached the summit. The view is breathtaking, as long as you ignore the cost at your feet. The day everyone feared has finally arrived. But for you, this is the day you've prepared for 5 years. The big boss finally puts on his gloves. The list of charges is enough to make you sweat. Massive violations of business practices, handling of huge assets, conspiracy to harm others. The courtroom is packed. He sits there, smug, because he thinks he has the best lawyers in town. His most loyal henchmen are by his side. You stand up, deliver an Oscar-worthy performance, and precisely dismantle his arguments. Expose the flaws in the chain of custody. Make the opposing witness look like a confused liar. Your voice rings out in the courtroom, filled with feigned outrage at the injustice done to your client. You see the judge nod, you see the jury waver, your boss gives you a knowing smile. That arrogance of being above the rules, he's already planning what to have for dinner. The judge is about to dismiss the case for insufficient evidence. The air is thick with acquittal. Then it happens. The prosecutor stood up, a strange glint in his eyes. He requested new evidence be submitted. An anonymous source just delivered it to his desk this morning. The judge approved. A black ledger, a stack of high-definition recordings. This isn't circumstantial evidence. This is a minute-by-minute record of every transaction, every bribe, every directive. For a full 5 years, the entire courtroom was stunned. The boss's face turned pale. He looked at you, his eyes wide open, waiting for you to object, waiting for you to scream, waiting for you to do anything to comply. He knew only one person had the key to the safe, but you didn't move. You just sat there calmly, adjusting your tie like a monk. You didn't say a word. In that second, his expression changed from pleading to pure terror. He understood. This is a double betrayal. He thought you were saving him. He was right. He's not going to a regular prison. With this new evidence, a light sentence isn't even on the table. The prosecutor just asked for the maximum. And you, his loyal counsel, just sat there and watched the gavel seal his fate. The boss was dragged out of court, screaming curses at you. Everyone you know in the gallery was shaking with rage. Pulls out his phone. He called the emergency line, simple and brutal. He went after his family. But on the other end, it wasn't one of his people. It was an investigator. Your threat was neutralized hours ago. Your family is safe, drinking hot chocolate in a safe house. The truth is, you were never really the traitor. From the start, the mole knew he'd eventually be exposed, so he chose to sacrifice himself, putting everything on your shoulders to make you believe him, or even force you to turn him in, using him as a stepping stone to win the boss's absolute trust. It's the only way to bring down the whole organization. You didn't betray him. You completed his last-ditch mission, of course, to make others die for you. You still feel like garbage, but you did it. Watching the empire turn to ash is your final tribute to that brave agent. The raid was massive. Not just the big bosses, every core member of the organization was arrested simultaneously. The operation was ruthless. Some will face the maximum penalty. Others will spend the rest of their lives in prison. This organization was wiped out. And you, by law, for years, you helped manage assets and cover up evidence. You should have spent many years in prison. But the system is pragmatic. You handed over the key players to them, so they let you go. Your immunity deal cost them their heads. You leave the courthouse through the back. A black, tinted window van is waiting. Inside, someone from the investigation hands you a manila envelope. Inside is a new passport, a new identity, a whole new life story. You're moving to a quiet inland state. 6 months of snow. You're no longer the star lawyer here, no longer the devil's advocate. A person died in court today. You get into the van. Hold your family close. The engine starts. For the first time in my life, you don't need to look back. You're a nobody now, and being a nobody has never felt so good. This story is a fictional creation, for entertainment purposes only.